Today we're going to go over tomato cages and the best way to make an inexpensive tomato cage that will last you forever and will actually hold and make your tomatoes grow nice and big without having to do the one stake that I've done here, which I'm going to end up putting one of these tomato cages over top of this. And so what these tomato cages are, it's actually concrete wire, and they come in rolls of 5 feet by 50 feet. You can get them at Lowe's, and it's around $79. It's just a matter of making sure that you cut the right width all the way around. And here, I'll show you how it works. So they come in rolls like this. And so what I do is, I count out 8 squares, not including the one side that's already cut out. All right, and then that will give me exactly the right amount to then to exactly bend out and actually turn it into a perfect size for a tomato cage. So what I use to cut it with is I actually have bolt cutters, and I picked these up at Princess Auto. I think they were like 20 bucks or something like that. Once again, I bought these a while back. I'm just not one to ever remove tags. And so you count out your 8 squares, and then on the opposite side you would then cut this. Now I'm not going to do it because I've only got one hand. So let me show you one that's already been cut. So here is the tomato cage that's already cut, and it's really now just a matter of bending over these ends so that they then loop into this side. Now what I found is that if you actually bend it right at where the wire is, there's a chance that it could break the weld. So what I do is I bend it halfway. And so what I did was I actually took 2 boards and I screw them down on top of it. And I will be right back once I've set that up, and I'll show you how that all lays out. Okay, so what I've done is I've screwed the bottom piece in so that it's halfway on the wire, and then I've done the same thing at the other end so that it will be even all the way along. And now I just have to bend it. And I would highly recommend, if you're going to do this, to have gloves that are leather so that you don't hurt yourself. Yeah, you just bend her over. Keep them as straight as possible. And you really you don't want to go all the way over the board when you're doing the initial bend. You just want to go on a 45 so that you can get it nice and tight when you're bending it over the wire on the other end. And so I only put 2 screws in each board. So one at the end down here, one at the end down here. No need to support it in the middle because you're going to be squeezing it anyways. And out of this 50-foot roll, keep in mind that the squares are actually 6-inch squares, right? So you're going to get about 10 cages in total at 79 bucks a piece. That's actually not bad. Plus they will last forever. The reason why I had to make new batch of cages is because at the previous house I left the cages behind. So now I've got some new cages, and you can put the rubberized paint on it if you want, or you can just leave them the way they are, and the rust doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. Anyways, so we'll move on to the next step when I put them all together. Okay, so I've removed the wood off of there so that I can complete the bend and get my glove on once again. And so it's just a matter of getting the first loop in, and then you bend her over right like that, and then the rest just follow suit. And then when you get to the other end, of course, you're going to want to put the wire in so that it's actually facing in, whereas the other ones will work the way through. And then it's just a matter of bending them over so it gets them in nice and tight. And keep in mind that when it comes to the end of the season, if you want to take them apart, you can. You can actually just unbend this piece and bend it back. What some people will do is they'll actually just attach this with wire, and then it allows them to open it up if they wanted to. I like it better this way because I can just throw them in behind the shed and then they're good to go for next year. I don't need to unwind them. Alright, so that's all done. And then if you have to, you can always press it down to get it perfectly round, and then you're good to go. Alright, so that's basically the best tomato cages you can make right there. Now what some people will do is they'll take the cutters, they'll take the bolt cutters and they'll cut off the bottom wire so that they can then push this down inside the dirt. And I'll probably do that on maybe a couple of mine, purely on the basis that I don't actually have enough stakes to stake them, so I'll just do that. And what I mean by stakes, as you'll see, I've got these stakes right here, and so those stakes will then be attached, so it gives it stability. And then what I would do is literally just cut the bottom wire off so that it can push into the ground. I've got these extra rings that I bought from previous years, and that just adds stability on it. You don't need these. You can, like I said, just cut the bottoms off. All right.